to Okayama here in Japan for race 2 of GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS. We are at the penultimate weekend of GT World Challenge Asia for 2025, and at the pointy end, which means championships are now very much the focus of everybody's attention. It is a beautiful day once again, a warm day, and we have no threat of rain. We can focus purely on surviving the heat. Sepang was where we started the season in April. Then we went to the brand new circuit in Indonesia with the Chang International Circuit featuring for the last time because it's not on the 26th calendar. And then our double header in Japan, Fuji and Okayama. We finish our season at the Beijing Street Circuit, a brand new circuit in the heart of E-Town in Beijing. And with street circuits comes insecurity, drama, and a little bit of unpredictability. And therefore, here in Okayama, on a day where it's beautiful sunshine, a circuit that everybody knows, they will be trying their hardest to establish themselves in each championship position. Because when you go to Beijing, really anything can happen. The circuit is 3.7 kilometers in length, and let's go down and have a look at what it looks like inside the cockpit of Dorian Boccolacci's Porsche.
Hi everyone, it's Dorian Boccolacci. Get on board with me on my car on Okayama circuit. It was my first race last year in GT World Challenge Asia. Here we're on the straight, big braking for the turn 1. We get a big oversteer at the entry, a lot of time in this corner, so it's very sensitive corner. Then we arrive to turn 2, not really easy. We don't see clearly the exit, and we need to be very close to the gravels in exit. Then we have a little straight, not really straight. We can see some traffic here, big braking, and here we need to go uphill, and we have a really long straight, so it's really important to get a good exit there. Then we are on the straight, like go-kart, we can put the head in front. We take some speed, and here we have the biggest braking of the track. Nice hairpin. We need to stay a bit tight because then we have a left corner. We need to open it, cut a little bit here. Don't do track limit out of turn 8, and then again turn 9, a little left corner, little straight. Okay, we arrived to the last sector. Very good with the Porsche. We get a good rotation here. First hairpin, then we need to prepare the second hairpin, so don't go fully wide in the exit. And we arrive in turn 12 and turn 13, last corner. Turn 12, it's very difficult because we have the gravel and we need to carry a lot of speed in, and then we arrive directly to last corner. And what is important is really to get a good exit for the straight line.
I love the tuck your head behind the steering wheel to get more speed like you do in a go-kart. Dorian Boccolacci karting last weekend. He has a little club that he organises across France, and the weekend before that doing some rallycross. So a very diverse character and driver, a works driver for the Porsche Asia Pacific Championship. Can he get his first victory here in Okayama in the GT World Challenge Asia Championship? Well, let's have a look at what happened in race 1 yesterday. A frenetic start to yesterday's action, 3 wide into the first corner, but further back in the middle of the pack it got a little bit crowded, and our new driver lineup in the 55 Ferrari was the car into the gravel and deep in the gravel. Bianye, who won last year in his Audi, was also facing the wrong direction in the middle of the circuit, but was able to recover. It was deemed that it was the number 10 Porsche that was of Brian Lee, which was the culprit of spotting everyone, and in the end they retired with damage to the front end of that car. At the head of the field though, Andy Dung in the 96 Harmony Racing Ferrari extended his lead and his advantage as the 10 continued to try and continue, but in the end the damage was too great. Battling down into turn number 5 with the 2 Porsche Center Okayama Okazaki cars. and car 60, the leader in AM, was turned around. In the end, they still managed to take victory in AM. Pit stop window opened, and it was a bit confusing for JMR. They really were struggling at the back of the field anyway, and they compromised each other massively, tripping each other over each other in pit lane. No success penalty for the 96, and therefore in and out of the pits and back to the head of the field. A lights to flag victory was on the cards. Nissan looking good though in the silver category, coming out in 4th position after the pit stops. The 45 of James Yu Kwai trying to claim that position whilst Yu Kanemaru got up to speed. Max Hussein showing that he is one of the very strongest drivers with this lovely move. In the end, it was all for nothing for the 89 car, because they actually had a penalty from lap 1, which was only given to them post-race. Contact at this corner on lap 1 with the 29 Lamborghini, dropping them to 4th position by the end of the race. But the winner was in no doubt, the 96 from lights to flag, taking the victory ahead of Boccolacci in the Porsche in 2nd position. And 3rd would go to Bastien Bus and Lu Wei. Ferrari's first victory in 2 years in GT World Challenge Asia. At the moment, we haven't had the European race yet, and therefore points standings are as follows. Porsche in 2nd position, but only 2 points ahead of BMW, and despite Ferrari's victory here, 4th position in the global manufacturers standings that takes into consideration Asia, America, also Europe and Australia. Now, if you love your racing in GT World, we now have an app, every race in one place. It will give you notifications of every single event that's happening across our calendar, and you'll be able to watch it on your phone. Download the app now. So this is the Gakujigen High School, their Wadaiko club. Many of the members beginners in the art form of Wadaiko. Nice to see many females as well. We had the Wadaiko in Fuji. If you're in a sports team or a brass band in junior high school but feel the level of the Gakuijin is too high, or if you want to take on a new club or activity, why not try Wadaiko with us? This is the information I've been given, by the way. I'm just reading it out. It seems to be a promotion for those who want to go to the school, the high school. This particular club goes beyond the traditional framework of performing arts, creating a dynamic and high-speed performance, constantly challenging themselves to deliver shows that audience can enjoy together. And the GT World Challenge loves to have some cultural performances. And there's a lot of energy down there on the grid. Lovely atmosphere down on the grid. Let's go down to Amy, who is back with us, and we welcome her back to the club with Alexander Sims.
And here on the grids of race 2 of Okayama, we are hitting a record high in temperature this weekend, but also a festive atmosphere. How are you feeling this?
Well, I'm loving being in Japan. It's an amazing country. I've only been here a couple of times before, and it's yeah, a wonderful experience every time I'm here. So first time here in Okayama. The circuit's really cool to drive. But yeah, as you say, temperatures are pretty warm and they're challenging out there.
And you were a little bit unlucky yesterday, I guess, with the pit stop and everything. How are you looking forward to this race? What are you aiming for?
Yeah, yesterday went how it went, and we move on. Hopefully today can be a smoother race, and we can support the sister car in their championship hunt, hopefully to get them some good points. But yeah, we're at the right end of the grid. Hopefully we have a smooth one.
So all the best luck to you and enjoy the race.
Thank you very much.
日本のファンの方々に翻訳させていただきます。まずはですね、この雰囲気本当にすごく楽しくってですね、僕自身は岡山初めて走るので本当楽しみにしてるんですけど、昨日のねちょっとピットでのアンラッキーな、ことがあったので、それはちょっともう昨日のことということで忘れて今日はレースを楽しみたいとおっしゃってました。以上です。Back to you.
Get the feeling that Alexander Sims is going for a mullet, which is interesting. Great to have a world-renowned and worked Corvette driver back with us. We saw him in Sepang, where he took victory in race 2 in Malaysia. This is his second appearance, and he would have been expecting to be in the 99 car, where he took victory in Malaysia, but Ben Green has done such a great job in that car that Alex being drafted in to the 66 car instead, and so playing the supporting role. He'll be with JMR in 2 weeks' time at the Suzuka 1,000 kilometers, back in the World Motorsport calendar with a great entry of 33 cars. Something like 23 cars from this championship, taking on some of the very best in the world, and Alexander Sims will be there with effectively a works Corvette lineup. Nicky Katzberg, his longtime teammate and legend, will be lining up alongside him, and Scott McLaughlin, IndyCar driver and also a long-time Aussie V8 driver. He's done a little bit of GT3 racing, but not a huge amount. But what a name to have. Obviously running the Chevrolet engine in IndyCar. So there's the link. But that's a very, very cool guy to have on the Suzuka 1,000 kilometer grid. Let's go back down to Amy, who is making her way up this 30 car grid.
And back on the grids with the first and only Chinese Le Mans winner, Ye Yifei. It's such an honor to have you here at our GT World Challenge. How is it so far? You were a little bit unlucky yesterday, but I think it's looking good from the start today.
Yeah, it's great to be back here racing in Asia in a Ferrari. Of course, it's not the Ferrari that I used to drive in the hypercar, but still a very fast car. Yesterday in qualifying, as you said, a bit unfortunate. We couldn't really show what we were able to. But you know, with 30 cars on the grid, it's always going to be difficult to put a lap in. Today, I'm just going to try to enjoy the race. It will be hard, very hot. Let's see where we end up.
I must ask you, as a Le Mans winner, do you still get to reminisce about the win?
It's a day that I will never forget in my life, and I hope that I can win again.
And congratulations to that again, and I wish you all the best luck and a lot of fun today.
Thank you. 謝謝.
Thank you very much. 日本のファンの皆さんに訳させていただきます。ルマンウィナーということでね、またこのアジアでの舞台、楽しみにしているんですけれども、ちょっとアンラッキーなことがね昨日たくさんあったんですけれども、今日はまた気持ちを切り替えていいレースができるように頑張りたいとおっしゃってました。そしてね、ルマンの、優勝まだ未だにねちょっと思い出深いですねっていう話については、本当に僕はもう一生忘れない、経験をしてきたので、またあの舞台で、勝てるようにね、夢を持って、走り続けたいとおっしゃってました。以上です。Back to you.
Yeah, the other interesting thing about Ye Yifei, of course, we're talking in Asia, so we're celebrating the fact that he's the only Chinese driver, but he actually was brought up in Le Mans. So it was almost a home victory as well for Ye Yifei. Went to high school, learned how to drive in Le Mans town, and then took his first steps into racing around the Bugatti circuit. So as much a Frenchman, a Westerner, as he is a Chinese driver, and a works Ferrari driver. Brand new lineup in that 55 car. Meant they had a 5-second penalty in yesterday's pit stop, but today they don't have that. And they are strong in the field. His teammate is a Lamborghini Super Trofeo AM driver from Asia. So neither of them very much GT experience or indeed experience in this championship. Let's have a look now. Temperature is about the same as it was for the Japan Cup race yesterday. 30 degrees air temperature. I tell you what, it feels a lot more than that because the humidity up to 66%. Track temperature about 10 degrees cooler than what they ran yesterday, so that'll be a headache and a head scratch for those on the grid, because the Pirelli tyre will be working very, very differently. Imagine that Pirelli tyre. It's the same tyre they use in Asia at Nürburgring this weekend, where probably it's 5 degrees and snowing, and yet here it's 45 degrees. So the tyre has to work in so many different places across the world, but it is the same compound of tyre that is used everywhere in the GT World Challenge Championship. So that's kind of fascinating if you're a geek like me and think about black and round things. Let's go back down to Amy. She's now got our championship leaders, and they have a decent advantage coming into today.
Here with the championship leader, Leo. So, well, it's been a great season for you, and there is, you know, the dream of the consecutive championship. How far or how close do you think that is?
Still early to say. We have 3 races left. Yeah, but we're quite all right, and we're starting P3 today, so I think it's a good chance for us to get some points. But championship-wise, it's too early to think about.
So I do not want to jinx it, but a Porsche has not won Okayama race before. Do you think you can be the first one to do that?
I don't know. We'll see after an hour. But I think the Porsche has some advantage here. Also, I think the Corvette is really fast, so we'll see how the race goes. I try to keep up.
It's going to be a hot start, so all the best luck to you. Thank you very much. さあチャンピオンシップリーダーということでですね、2年連続チャンピオンっていうのが、今まで史上初の試みとなっているので、それのね自信はいかがほどですかっていう、まだちょっと言うには早いかなっていう、この先どんなねレースが待っているかはちょっとわからないんですけれども、ご自身としては、とても本当強く戦って続けていきたいとおっしゃってます。そして、ですね、ポルシェがこの岡山で勝ったことがないという、ジンクスにはしたくないんですけれども、それについていかがですかという質問に対して、それもね、できれば勝ってポルシェにここ岡山で、ウィンをね、もたらしたいんですけれども、それも、ポジションとしてはいいポジションスタートなので頑張りますとおっしゃってました。以上です。Back to you.
Yeah, 15 points the difference between Origin Motorsport and Johor Motorsport. So that means it cannot be wrapped up today. They need an advantage of 50 points, which would be mathematically impossible. But we might lose a couple of drivers from that championship fight mathematically. Probably go down to Ruan Chunfan and Max Hussein and suggest that maybe they are out of the hunt, but Kong Fu Cheng and James Yu Kwai could still do it mathematically. I mean, it's a tall order. Wei Lu will be hoping as well from pole position today that he can close that 39-point difference. But Bob Wan and Leo Yi leading the championship with 3 victories to their name, and they are the leaders by 15 points over Prince Jeffrey. But today, the 99 is at the sharp end of the field. It is that car on the front row of the grid. And speaking of the 99, we can go back down to Amy, who has Ben Green.
Here, front row of race 2 with Ben Green. So, Ben, you did quite a good job at qualifying, starting from this position. Yesterday was a little bit unlucky, but still, your partner, Prince Jeffrey, is championship, like, P2 right now, and you need those points. Is the pressure high?
Yeah, it's the same as every round. You know, we want to have a good result today on Sunday. We're starting with no cars in front of us directly, so that always helps. So, yeah, we'll push forwards and see what we can do.
And also here, you know, the Corvette has been very strong this season. With all the professional drivers around, the start is going to be very narrow at turn 1. What is that like on your shoulders?
Yeah, I think Johor Racing have done a fantastic job this season. You can see we're always up the pointy end of the grid. So, yeah, we're going to continue doing a good job and, yeah, try and beat everyone else on track.
Hopefully you get those points and see you at the podium.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. はい、こちらも翻訳させていただきます。まあこのポジションスタートということでね、とても先は明るいということで、いいスタート切れるように頑張りたいと、おっしゃってました。そしてですね、やっぱりプリンス・ジェフリーがチャンピオンシップ P2 ということで、そのプレッシャーはありますかって聞いてるんですけど、まあでもすごく楽しみながらこのレース進められてるので、それで結果がついてくれば僕は満足するよとおっしゃってました。以上です。Back to you.
Thank you very much, Amy. One gap on the grid, 4 rows from the back. Edoardo Mortara and Vincenzo Ricci in the Absolute Corsa Lamborghini missing. No reason given by Absolute as to why that Lamborghini is not on the grid. Probably in the garage somewhere along there on the left-hand side. But they have had a pretty miserable weekend. They qualified pretty badly and raced to 15th position, I think I remember seeing. So Edo doing a good job in the second half of the race, but unfortunately that car has been pulled. Let's go back down to Amy and grab Bastien Bus, who is on the pole position.
Before jumping into the car, all right, here with the pole sitter, Bastien, just a quick word. How excited are you to the start?
It's always exciting to start on pole, so yeah, we have the 5 seconds success penalty from yesterday, from a good race, so yeah, let's see. Plan is to see if I can get out of the start in P1, and then we have to see how the pace is, but hopefully we can get a good result today as well.
Good luck and enjoy and have fun. Thank you very much. さあ、P1 スタートはやっぱりね、毎回エキサイティングなんですけれども、いいスタートを切れるようにね、楽しんでレースを進めたいとおっしゃってました。以上です。Back to you.
Bastien Bus doesn't have a chance of taking the championship, but his teammate Wei Lu does. And mathematically 39 points back from Bob Wan and Liu Yi. Needs to be within 50 before going to Beijing to be able to stand a chance. Anthony Liu and Boccolacci are 32 points back in the overall standings. So they are all hoping for a bad day in the office for the number 87, our championship leaders, but that doesn't happen often. Happened in Buriram. They scored no points in Buriram, but other than that, they've never been lower than 6th position. And yesterday were in 6th spot, Liu Ye and Bob Wan. So they don't have any success penalty today. Lu Wei and Bastien Bus will, because they finished 3rd yesterday, so an extra 5 seconds in the pits. Boccolacci and Liu 10 seconds after finishing 2nd, and the Ferrari of Andy Dung and Lu Kai Lu have 15 seconds extra in the pits. And then don't forget, all of the silver lineups have an extra 5 seconds in the pits. Our top silver driver is James Yu Kwai in the car 45 on row 3. One piece of news that we didn't tell you yesterday: car 89 of Max Hussein and Tony Yuan received a post-race penalty after contact with the 29. Remember, the Lamborghini got spun around on lap 1 at turn 7-8, something like this. We didn't see it we just caught the very end of it on our screens, but it was deemed that Tony Yuan Kunfan had dived down the inside and turned the 29 around. It took until post-race for the decision to be made, but it did drop them from 2nd down to 4th in the Silver Am standing, so they don't have quite as much of a lead as they were expecting to have. It's a 43-point lead in that championship, and again, they need 50 points or more over the Nissan to be able to take that championship of Silver Am before we go to Beijing. Team standings could be wrapped up today. Origin lead JMR by 82 points. It needs to be 87 by the end of today. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And here is the grid then. Adam Corsa on the pole for Am. They took victory yesterday in that category. Pole for silver, as I said, is the 45 Audi. Silver Am to Volgas Motorsport. Dan Arrow is starting right at the sharp end of the field. We didn't mention that, but he's on row 2. And Origin with the Pro-Am pole and the pole in the race. Porsche at the sharp end, but have never won here in Okayama. Ben Green alongside Bastien Bus on the front row. It's Leo Ye and Dan Arrow on row 2. And then Alexander Sims and James Yu Kwai on row 3. Boccolacci and Pile, good qualifying for Patrick Pile for Absolute on row 4. And then Max Hussein starts 9th position in Silver Am with Ye Yifei alongside him. Good qualifying from Daniel Liu. We haven't seen the 321 Porsche that high up so far this year, with Marcus Winkelhock alongside him. And then Jane the Jada, the Australian, down on row 7 alongside race 1 winners Lukai Liu. It's going to be a tough day in the office for the 96 Ferrari. Nico Menzel didn't get a chance to race yesterday after the GTO Racing Porsche was eliminated. Sean Thong 16th, and has fought back in the 86 car. They found form and got some points again yesterday. And then Porsche Center Okazaki in 18th spot with the Nissan. Lots of work to do in 19th position. Daishang Leong alongside. The second of our Porsche Center Okazaki cars with a new driver, Gamo, 21st, Akish Nandi, 22nd, Natalie Fong, 23rd. There is no Eduardo Mortara in the 19 Lamborghini, 24th. And then the AM drivers, 60, Martin Berry in the 8. The leader of the championship, Christian Colombo, starts the 75, and then Ben Porter alongside. Didn't get on the podium yesterday, that Garage 75 car, with Renault Renga, 5th AM car, and a 5-place grid drop for that number 5 machine. Second of our safety car lights. Safety car 2-lap warm-up, as per every single GT World Challenge Asia race. And an opportunity for the drivers to really settle down. Now, of course, not so important for the majority of the grid in this race, because they are the pro drivers that start. So they would be okay with 1 lap. But we do still have some silver drivers in there, Leo Ye being 1, although of course they are in a Pro-Am entry. And then we've got the AM guys at the back of the field. They've done 1 lap, the circuit's so short. We are now getting ready to go racing. As we mentioned before, Porsche have not yet won here in Okayama. It's been a feature of the World Challenge ever since Japan became the venue for the 2022 championship, when COVID was still knocking about. And now it is the chosen circuit to be the second round in Japan on GT World Challenge Asia's calendar, with Suzuka hosting the 1,000 kilometers as a standalone event. Nice and neat from our grid. That Ferrari just slightly out of position. That's Ye Yifei in the middle of the field. And the green flag is shown, and we are racing here in Okayama. We've got a car in the wall already, turned around. That's Dan Arrow, big impact into the wall. Everyone else has just about managed to avoid him. Somebody has hit some of his debris, but Dan Arrow going across the nose of somebody else, and there's more contact, and that's the championship leaders are around, and they are certainly out of the race. Look at the damage to the back of the Origin Porsche. Surely they can't get going again. Yes, they do. Is that just rear bumper damage? Maybe it is, but that is Leo Ye, and is that a championship leader at the back of the field? Is that the second Corvette? Which one is it? with a puncher. It is the 99. The two championship challengers are in the tail of our field, and Dan Arrow thankfully getting out of the car. But that was a big impact at the start of our race. Now, are we going safety car or are we going red flag? Because that is a lot of damage on the start-finish straight, and they'll have to be going through pit lane to avoid that car. At the moment, marshals have not made any call. I'm looking out the window to see if we've got a flag, and it is, I think, red. Safety car. No, it isn't. It is safety car. But lots to unravel there. Apologies, from my window it looks like it's a red light, but it's a yellow light with the safety car light in, and safety car waiting on the start line. Now, race control has the ability to talk to the teams and will tell the teams that there is an obstruction on the start line, but there's a lot of damage and there's a lot of debris out there as well. And actually going through the pit lane isn't going to help, because there is a sort of a blockage on at the end of pit lane now. Curious to find out what happened to that car, and of course the 99. Got to pay attention to both. Is it just cosmetic? Is that just the rear bumper missing, or is there more damage to the rear end of this 87 car? Into the pits comes the 99, second in our championship. That has a puncture for sure, but is it suspension damage? Oh, no, it is. The dolly jacks go under the Corvette, and Ben Green will be retiring the car that sits second in the championship. There's no rush for the 87 car either. And I have a feeling that first and second in our championship are both out of the race. Unbelievable stuff here in Okayama. Quick look at the rear right. And I think it might well be a relatively easy fix. Oh, unbelievable stuff. A lot of work going on down at Origin, so it must be more than just cosmetic. They do have the lollipop out, so it looks like the 87 is going to go back out onto circuit. But let's have a replay of what happened to Dan Arrow first. So Leo Ye comes across the nose of the 66, and that pushes Dan Arrow into the wall. So do you know what? The 87 here is going to get the blame for that. He's trying to get around the 4, who's been a bit slow on the front row. But look at this from the 45 angle. You've got to really keep your line. From that angle, it looks like it's the 66 that elbows Dan Arrow out the way, but it isn't. God, 45, lost a huge amount of time there, blimey. But then somebody's been off on the grass there, and look, on the inside, then spins. I wonder how the 99 got involved in that. We saw contact with the 66, but Alexander Sims was trying to take avoiding action from hitting the 87, and it was Leo Ye who jinked from the inside to the outside, and as he did so, Sims took avoiding action, paying attention to that car, but in the end elbowing Dan Arrow out of the race. And that's so unfortunate for Dan, because he had a brilliant qualifying session right at the sharp end and was really excited to see how he could deal with our pro drivers around him. But unfortunately he is out. Now, if that was just a side swipe, then it does mean that basically the rear end is okay. So the 99 has run wide out of turn 1. He was the one that was off on the grass on the left-hand side, and as he's then turned into turn 2, he has then turned around the 87. But I still don't understand where he's picked up his suspension damage from. This is what the championship looks like as it stands. It brings Lu Wei and Okalachi and Liu right into the mix, but there's still a lot of racing to go. You see, the 99 has got right rear suspension damage, so that would have been, right rear would have been the inside, so he's had somebody into the rear of him through turn 1. And then with that contact, he's then wiggled across the circuit, lost control and tapped the 87 to turn him around. But somebody else has been into the tail of the 99 car. And presumably that was going through turn 1. Decipher what happened to the 99. On board with the 89. Okay, so coming into turn 1, look out for the 99. It's just right at the front of shot, and there's no contact there. He's on the left-hand side. 89 gets squeezed, and the suspension surely is already broken by that point. Yeah, look. So rear right suspension has been broken in turn 1, which has meant that the 99 loses control, but he was too far to our left-hand side from the 89 angle to be able to see exactly what happened or who made contact with him. Race control have different angles to TV, so they will have the opportunity to be able to see a different angle to us, and they are, of course, investigating the incident. But there's Bob 1 looking on. Ben Green is in the car. He's waiting to go back out, but it'll become a test session for the 99 car. Still trying to avoid all of the dirt and grime down there. Amazingly, this car is still on the lead lap. So even though the 87 is at the back of the field, they are on the lead lap. What they now need is for a decision on that penalty, on that lap 1 collision, to be made as quickly as possible, because if they do get a penalty for it, and they are able to take it pre-pit stop, and then we have another safety car later on, it'll keep them in the mix. And of course, for a championship leader, very, very important, knowing that the 99 is parked up. 99, though, at present has 104 points. So we saw what the championship would look like for the top 3, but actually, what it didn't show is Prince Geoffrey would also be still within 15 points of Bob Wan. So even though they would be 4th, it would leave us with 4 cars racing for victory in Beijing. Right, the race track conditions have been sorted out going into turn 1, but safety car lights are still on, so we've got another lap. Let's go down to Amy, and she's down in Origin to find out what's going on with that 87 car.
Here in the box of car number 87, as the championship leader, this is quite unfortunate what happened. Is Leo okay, first of all? And I'm hearing a few things. Is the car coming in back, or what is happening?
I don't know. I just see Leo got the hit by car 99. I don't know what's going on. I mean, what make it happen? But yeah, right now I think we are close to the retired. So yeah, that's it.
But still, you are still championship leader, and then leading towards, you know, the last circuit race. Keep your face up and heads up high, I guess.
I don't know. Let's see.
Okay. Oh, the car is back in the pits. Is that a retirement? But they're trying to fix it, I guess. So yeah, I wish you good luck with that, and thank you very much for the interview. Hi, Amy. Yaksa させていただきます。まずはですね、リオ選手大丈夫ですかっていう質問で、走ってるんで大丈夫だよというところと、あとリアバンパーをね直して出てきたけど、ちょっと状況としてはどんな感じっていう質問に対して、いやもう全然わけが分かってなくって、99号車に当てられてっていう、本当にがっかりっていうところですかね。そして今車が入ってきているので、これリタイアになるんじゃないかとおっしゃってました。Back to you.
So, of course, what's happening by not having a rear bumper is the air circulation that is there to cool the engine is obviously not behaving in the way that you would expect. So they need to get the rear bumper on to make sure that the air circulation is correct, so the engine works correctly. So that's why they've refitted a bumper, and they're desperately trying to get out before the pit lane shuts and before these cars get around and put a lap on them. So they managed to do that. I can see the car is rolling. There it is. But that was what they really need to do, a lap ago. It does make life a lot harder for them, especially if they're given a penalty. Right, we are going to go back to racing. We've got number 4, Sebastian Buus at the head of the field. Dorian Boccolacci second. They got caught by the red light. So they will go one lap down. That's really, really unfortunate. Green flag flies, and we are going back to racing here in Okayama after a 15-minute safety car and a collision on lap 1. It's Sebastian Buus who leads from Dorian Boccolacci, Alexander Sims in 3rd, and Patrick Pilet 4th position. Then Winkelhock and Ye Yufei are top 6. Little bit of a gap already between Sebastian Buus and Boccolacci, who were the 2 battlers for race victory this time last year in soggy conditions here in Okayama. Don't forget that Boccolacci told us they'd saved tyres for today's race, so they've got good tyres on that number 37 car. And as we've just seen, they are now, the 4 and the 37, very much in championship contention. Here comes Winkelhock looking to try and pass Pilet, 2 of the elder statesmen of the championship. I shouldn't say that because kind of similar age to me, but some of the elder drivers. Buus, Boccolacci of a different generation. Alexander Sims, sort of their generation, especially with that beard. Sims is in the 66, do not forget that. He was in the 99 in Sepang, but he's in the 66 JML car, and that's the car that really hasn't scored very many points at all this year. The 4 and the 37 very much in championship contention, with the 87 and the 99 very much out of the points. The 99, I think, is probably a retirement, although the last time we looked, Ben Green was still in the car. They are 3 or 4 laps down, and I can see the 87 coming back into the pit. So, yeah, the Porsche isn't happy, I'm afraid, and it is going to be a retirement for the 87. And our 1st position and 2nd position in the championship are going to score no points here in Okayama. An unbelievable twist, as we come to expect in GT World Challenge Asia. It all looks so simple, doesn't it? And you can just see the body language. 87 team manager being asked to report to race control as well. At the moment, Sebastian Buus stretching an advantage here. We know how strong Lu Wei is in that number 4 car, and it's Lu Wei who is in championship contention. Sebastian Buus sharing the 4 with Alessio Piccarello this year. They've done 2 races each, and actually Bastian is the one that has yet to score a victory. His best result, 3rd in Buriram yesterday, and in Okayama yesterday, and in Buriram back in May. So there we go, Bob Wan and Leo Ye are out. Boccolacci certainly struggling here. Alexander Sims looking strong. And of course, every point that Sims can take away from the 4 and the 37 will help the 99. Even though the 99 is out of the race, even though they can't score any points, if Sims can limit the damage by overtaking the 37 and the 4, then that will be helping. Of course, Origin Motorsport run the 87 car. They also run the number 4 car. Ben Green is still in there. Don't really understand why. So Origin in the 4, effectively racing their teammates for the title, whereas that 66 car is not in championship contention. But if the 66 takes points away from the 37, then that will help Prince Jeffrey. Don't know if Alexander Sims is due to race in Beijing in the middle of October. I have a feeling that the Indy 8 Hours is the week before. I would need to check my calendar on that one. And therefore it would allow Alexander Sims to join us for the final round. No, it's the same weekend. So it's a weekend before next year, but it's the same weekend this year. And so Sims, I imagine, will be over in America. Oh no, sorry, the Indy 8 Hours is an SRO event. So no, he won't be in America, so he should be with us. Big laps coming in from Bastien Bus here. He is nearly a second faster than Boccolacci and Sims on that last lap. And whether that is Boccolacci struggling or whether that is Bus just absolutely disappearing off in the distance, not entirely sure, but by the looks of Alexander Sims, I would say that Boccolacci is struggling in that 37 car. And what's more, they have that success penalty as well from yesterday's race. So it doesn't look particularly good for the 37. The 4 also with a success penalty. So if Sims can stay within 5 minutes, if Alexander Sims can stay within 5 seconds of Bastien Bus, then it would automatically put the 66 at the head of the field post pit stops. But I get the feeling they'll have to pass Boccolacci first to be able to do that. Such is the pace of the number 4 right now. We're right on board with the 45 as out of the pits comes the 99. Repair that rear right suspension. I still don't know where the contact came from, and by the looks of the bodywork, there really wasn't very much of it. But back into the race for the 99, but it is a test session now for Prince Jeffrey and Ben Green. Down into a tight hairpin at turn 5. Big queue starting to form, isn't it, behind Boccolacci? Get the feeling that Bastien Bus is in a world of his own in the number 4. Slightly better lap from Boccolacci and Sims on the last one. Sometimes when there's a massive performance differential like this, 0.5 of a second this lap, 0.7 of a second last lap, you question whether there's a bit of tyre saving going on or something like that, because Bus is, well, faster than the track record last year. Of course, last year we had soggy conditions though, didn't we? But again, another best lap of the race from Bastien Bus, and he's in the 28s now. On board with car 89. They're 4th in the Silver Am category. In fact, they're behind Yu Kanemaru. So it's not been a good start from Max Hussein, and he's dropped quite a few positions, because he would have started in 10th position, so he's dropped to 14th. So I have to go back onto the onboard. You can watch that onboard on our YouTube stream. Every onboard that we have on circuit can be watched as an individual stream. Always an opportunity to spot little things that we haven't been able to see on the big screen, on the main feed. And we've got also an onboard with the 500 of our Nissan. Nissan is now the brand that is the last car to take victory. Thanks to our eagle-eyed spotters. Head of Communications Tom Hornsby pointing out that Hussein was avoiding action around the outside of the Ferrari and lost a lot of position. So yeah, we saw that on the 45, didn't we? The 45 lost a load of positions by going around the outside at turn 1. And now Sean Thong being swallowed up by the Nissan, and it may well be that Max Hussein is going to have the run on Sean Thong as well. Got a better run out the last corner. Not really any space, hasn't really got the overlap. Now he's got the overlap and may have the better drive out the corner. And yeah, already swallowed him up. So that suggests to me as though the Audi of Sean Thong, that pink Audi, is struggling. And Max should be able to get this done. Just need to give him a bit of a squeeze on the exit. There you go. You're not going to come around the outside of me here, thank you. And look, James Yuan, the 45, is behind them. So I was just mentioning that he took avoiding action. He is third in silver and absolutely plummeted. He was sort of straddling that outside curb that runs around the outside of turn 1. Now, interestingly, Race Control are investigating the incident between 87 and 99 post-race. Now, unless I've got something wrong, I thought it was the 66 that made contact with each other going into turn 1, not the 99. It makes sense if it was the 99, because it was the 99 that had the suspension damage. Now, pit window is open, so we are going to have cars coming into the pits. I can see that James Yuan has already dived into the pits, so he's not happy to be out there any longer. And pit stops already happening. Of course, we've got AM drivers only in the AM cars, and so unlike yesterday where you're rushing to get everybody out of the AM drivers out their cars, today it is more imperative that those pro drivers stay in the car as long as possible. I reckon though, you see the problem, I was about to say, I reckon if I was Alexander Sims's team, I'd bring him in early and try and get him past this 37, but you can't really do an undercut in this form of racing because the performance difference between Alexander Sims, even though he's stuck behind Dorian Boccolacci, is still going to be better than Prince Abu Bakar in the car versus Boccolacci when they're on a different part of the circuit. There's a look at just how bad Max Hussein's start was. Dropped 4 positions and 2 cars also eliminated out of that, so you can add 2 to all of those numbers. Silver drivers will be able to come into the pits as and when they want to, and Lukai Liu, head of the silver class, he comes into the pits, but he'll have an extra 15 seconds. So, okay, so what they're investigating is that. Right, thank you very much to our director for finding that again. So that is 99 hitting 87 and turning 87 around. But mitigating circumstances there is that we know 99 already had broken suspension at that point, rear suspension broken. What we don't know is how that happened. So I think that would be the argument from Ben Green, because we saw him from the onboard of the 89, he was already off the circuit and running around the grass on the outside, so he was out of control, and on the grass he didn't have any sort of retardation to gain back control of the car. Interestingly though, they are, Well, they haven't actually said that the start is clear yet, so they are still investigating the start, but I think we're pretty clear that 87 moved across on 66, which then hit 33, and both, unless they decide to give a penalty to Alexander Sims, which I think would be very unfair, it's really not going to affect this race, so they might as well wait until the end and get everybody's opinion of what exactly happened. Here's Daniel Liu, and he is leading Silver Am. To have many different teammates this year, Daniel Liu, in the 3-2-1. I was very excited at the start of the season because Daniel is the 2021 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia champion, and then post that season didn't end up doing any more racing and made his return to racing at the start of this year with Absolute, who he won that championship with. But he's had so many different teammates. He's got a new teammate this weekend in Zhuze Fen, who's new to this championship. Yesterday they finished in 20th position, and his best result has been 10th from Malaysia at the start of the year. But good qualifying from Daniel Liu, and he runs 8th spot right now, ahead of Nico Menzel. So by far his best performance of the year so far. Over the line. Remember I said that there needs to be a 5-second gap between Alexander Sims and Bastien Bus post pit stop. Well, it's now 5.2 seconds. Sims unable to get past Boccolacci, and so that would mean post pit stop, even with a 5-second penalty or success penalty that Bus is has got for P3 yesterday, Liu Wei in theory would come out ahead of Prince Abu Bakar. I say in theory because of course there is still all of that variables of actually how quick a pit stop is. Just confirmation that Daniel Liu does still lead Silver Am. It's Anders Forbach who is in second in Silver Am. 2 cars back. They have really found form in the second half of the year. Their results were very poor for 2 very experienced drivers in Kirong Li and Anders Forbach. Pre-Fuji, didn't score a point, best result was 12th. But Fuji, they got a 5th position in race 2, and then yesterday a 10th position, and that's overall. Winning their class in Fuji, 2nd yesterday. And they are again inside the top 10 positions in this one. There is our AM leader, Wakisaka. That car, of course, has been part AM, part Pro-Am this year, because we saw Giancarlo Fisichella in that car in Mandalika and then Buriram. Don't forget Buriram, where he got disqualified for being a very naughty boy, Giancarlo Fisichella. But they're back into the AM category with Wakisaka back in that car to partner Nakanishi. Their best result is 5th position back in 2022 when they were teammates. It's Nakanishi who was not with us in Mangalika and in Buriram. Into the pits comes the 29 of Huang Ruhan, who jumps aboard that car now. Rakesh Nandi driving that in the first stint. And we will soon get our pro cars into the pits as well. Daniel Frost jumps in to the 77, takes over from Jiatong Liang. That's been a bit of a quiet weekend for the Mercedes. And with no starring Climax racing car, there is no real sort of headline Mercedes team other than that Cao Chi and Jade Najeda car that Craft Bamboo are running. Just the one Mercedes. And they are 7th at the moment. Into the pits then comes Alexander Sims. He desires to come in 1 lap earlier than Boccolacci, so they are going to try and slightly split this and see if they can get Prince Abubakar ahead. Well, he will be ahead of Boccolacci because Boccolacci is going to have a penalty. But does this help them at all? against Bastian Boost? I don't think it does. So I wonder why they've decided to bring that car in one lap earlier than the others. Sims, Winkelhock in the pits as well. There is Winkelhock handing over to Biagnier. He was the winner of race 1 last year here in Okayama in a Lamborghini. Lamborghini's first, I want to say first ever win, but I don't think I'm right in that. Let me consult my notes. No, they had 4 wins back in the old days in 2017 and 2018. By the way, Ferrari's win yesterday was their 10th victory in GT World Challenge Asia. Porsche have 20 victories, and they will equal Mercedes if they can win this race. 21 victories to Mercedes, the only brand to win in every single year of GT World Challenge Asia. Up to this point, Mercedes have not got a victory yet in 2025, but they have won in every single other year. Ferrari didn't win in 2019, and Porsche didn't win in 2018. Audi didn't win in 2022. Into the pits then for the 37 car, Boccolacci. I'm going to say struggled. If we have a chance to speak to one of our drivers, it'd be interesting to be able to chat to Dorian Boccolacci, because, you know, such a star in Okayama last year. Now, that was in mixed conditions, but there's been times this year where up against the other pro drivers, you kind of go, well, hang on a second, why is he not going faster than that? Surely he can do better than that. We know that Boccolacci is a bit of a legend. So pit stops are completed, but this pit lane is quite short, and so they all have to wait. Now, the race off pit lane is between the 66, which is out in clear air, and the number 4 for the lead of the race. Here is Prince Abubakar. How quickly has he got up to speed? And remember, this is about taking points away from championship rivals of teammate car 66. Oh, wow, he's going to be a long way off. Bastien Bous on that last lap has done a lovely job, and maybe JMR are a little slow on their pit stop. And so Lu Wei continues to lead this race. Second position, Wang Zhongwei in the 911, then in third position is 66. And we've got Jiajing Shong Jae-jung, sorry, in fourth position in that 55 Ferrari. So didn't really get a chance to talk about Ye Yifei too much. But at the moment, a strong position for the 55. Here comes the 66 of Prince Abubakar on the attack, trying to go around the outside of 911. This is really important, has the inside line for turn number 7 and gets that move done. Well done, Prince Abubakar. That is what you like to see. That's what he needs to have. And of course, he's got 1 lap extra experience in the tyres and in the car. So he's already settled in, Prince Abubakar. Whereas Zhongwei Wang had just come out the pits. Sorry, Wang Zhongwei. And so up to second position, that is, for car number 66. Now, what is the gap between him and Wei Lu? And has Prince Abubakar found the form that he once had? In a Mercedes, he was the stronger of the 2 brothers between himself and Prince Jeffrey. And coming into the season, he was the one with more wins, as Anthony Liu makes a move down the inside. And that puts Liu up to 7th position. We've got a few drivers that haven't changed their driver IDs yet. But it is Liu in the 37. I love this point in the race. I love it when you get the new driver into the car and suddenly the whole pack has to be shuffled. Different performances versus rivals. Oh, is that car off on the gravel? Or is that just kicked up? That's at turn number 1. I think that was just gravel being kicked up. I don't see anybody stopped down there. So that is 7th position for Wei Lu, for Anthony Liu, sorry. And he now sets about chasing down Song Jae-jung in the 55 Ferrari. In 5th position is Bian Ye in the 46 Audi. Cao Chi in 4th in the Mercedes. 9-11 is Wang Zhongwei, then Prince Abubakar, and then Lu Wei. And Lu Wei has an advantage of 2.7 seconds over Prince Abubakar Ibrahim. Don't forget, post-qualifying, the Corvette drivers, oh, a little mistake from Song Jae-jung on the down change, the rear end just wiggling around. Very little experience for Song in GT cars at all. He's been in those slightly scary Lamborghini Super Trofeo cars. But here comes Anthony Liu, looks down the inside, can't quite make a move there, but will have scared Song away from the apex, and therefore has better drive out of the corner. This should be done for Anthony Liu. Fun times for the 37, because he had that success penalty from race 1, so he has to carve through the pack now. Slightly later on the brakes, goes down the inside. I tell you what, there's no respect for the newbie, is there, in the 55, but eventually Liu gets the move done. I feel as though the Harmony Racing Ferrari is going to go backwards here, simply because there's very little racing experience from Song Jae-jung in Lamborghini Super Trofeo. It's a very, very different level, and it's very different car anyway. Prince Abubakar is on a mission. The car and the body language looks quite different to Wei Lu. 2.1 is now the gap, so that's down another 0.7 of a second. Here's the battle for 3rd. I was talking about Mercedes not showing their form, but Tao Che looking very, very good here. Best result for Che, 2nd position back in Malaysia in race 2. They did get 3rd on the podium in Fuji race 2, but Fuji race 2 was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? So we could see another podium here for the 31. That 911 car of Wang Zhongwei has never been this high up all year long. Their best result, a 5th position in Fuji race 1. That's the only time they've been inside the top 10. Here comes the Nissan, the 500, 3rd position in Silver Ram, but looking to try and take 2nd spot, and ahead of them is the leader in Silver Ram. Oh, this is Silver Ram battling to the extreme here. 3-2-1 now leads Silver Ram, 86 in 2nd, the Nissan in 3rd position, line astern, and the 89 BMW is in the pack as well. Of Tony Yuan, 4th position, of course, trying to seal the deal in the championship, but behind his 3 championship rivals, we know how good Ran Kunfan is, though. And what is the reason for this is this 55 Ferrari just trying to stay on the track. Here comes the Nissan, boxes Kieron Lee in, and moves himself back up to 2nd in Silver Ram. Oh, a little bit of contact with Song, has to elbow his way through, but he knows he needs to get past because he can't let 3-2-1 disappear up the road, and Kieron Lee needs to do the same thing now. Got Brian Lee in there, he's an AM, but I suppose these are all AMs apart from Frankie Cheng and Rio. This is the battle for silver honours. Side by side between the 2 silver leaders. And Frankie Cheng at the moment just about holding on. What an amazing battle we've got going on. Everywhere you look right now, there's entertainment. Huang is also in there. And they're trying to clear Brian Lee. And in theory, Rio and and Frankie Cheng are faster than all the cars in front of them. But it is the pace of that Ferrari 55, which is the cork in the bottle. And again, Kieran Lee with a sort of a half move and can't get it done. And while the 86 is not in championship contention for Silver Ram, by being stuck behind the 55, it is allowing the 89 to get involved. But now here comes Frankie Cheng, who will want to get past that BMW fast, coming down towards turn 1. Battle in silver and battle for third in Silver Ram. The lights are flashing. Down the inside, Tony Yuan goes, gets past Kieran Lee, but crucially hasn't cleared the 55 yet. And now Frankie Cheng trying to go around the outside of Kieran Lee. That's brave around there because you don't really know where the exit of the corner is. Gets it done though. Good stuff from Frankie Cheng. And it's followed through by Rio as well. But they still haven't cleared the 55. Surely now Yuan can do it. Yuan Kunfan, look, the BMW with the legs, and goes clearly down the inside. That's going to allow Sung actually to take the apex, which will stop the progress of the two silver cars behind. That releases Yuan into third position in Silver Ram, but crucially behind the 500. And he's racing the 500, who is now in the lead at Silver Ram, and he's racing them for the title. Down the inside goes Frankie Cheng, nice and decisive. Rio's going to have to go around the long way. Surely that's not going to work. This is such a tight hairpin. It's actually one of the few corners in the world of motorsport. Oh, Rio gets elbowed off the circuit, and that's a puncture, I think, also for the Ferrari. Yes, it is. It was likely to happen. The Ferrari can't get into the pits because there's so many cars coming across him. Now it's clear. Please pull across to get in the pits. Don't park the car there. Oh, no, we're going to have a safety car for that one. So much fun and ruined it. Meanwhile, Silver Ram, hereupon leads. Shane Fenn in second, and the BMW of Ran in third position. Then Frankie Cheng now with the lead in silver because of all of that. And Rio is going to have potentially damage to the front end of his car. I think there was a change of position under our noses there. Anthony Liu going up the inside of Bian Ye for fifth position as we were waiting to ID the 500. So that's more points for Anthony Liu. There it is in the foreground now. And have a look at that. Anthony Liu could easily get himself up to third spot. We are going to go full course yellow to rescue the 55. And that means almost certainly we're then going to go safety car. And then we're going to have another Fuji-like battle to the flag. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's one thing doing that around Fuji, it's another thing doing that around Okayama. Take a breath, everyone. Unless you're the replay co-ord, because now there's a lot to catch up on. Wow. Entertaining stuff as always. So here's a replay then of the 55 and 16. I don't think that Song would have been really expecting the 16 to come around the outside here, but the overlap is still there, and he's almost in the blind zone of 55, and the tiniest of contact. I think that can't be suspension damage. That must just be a puncture. Song should have got himself to the inside there. That's a little bit frustrating. And GT World Challenge Asia over the last couple of years has increased their professionalism of drivers. I mean, 1,000%. We really do have a great quality now of drivers. And in that situation, of course, Song is new to the championship, and he does not have the experience of most of the field. So what we're seeing here, well, lots of things. Nissan getting past 89. Now, was there a bit of contact here? Yes, there was. Yeah, again, the 55 turns in without really realising that the Nissan is there, but, you know, that contact, absolutely no damage at all. Nissan is built like a brick. I don't think that that is more than a puncture for the 55. I mean, it's a great move down the inside. No harm done either. Now, hearing the race control are not going to go safety car. We are going to continue racing from this point. Now, usually it is we go safety car to get everyone back up to speed, because of course in full course yellow situation they're doing 60 kilometers an hour, whereas a safety car can go faster. But race control feeling as though there is no need to go safety car, so we're going to go straight back to green flag racing, and that means the gaps are not closed up, which is a very sensible thing from a crashing point of view, because safety cars breed safety cars, and we know what we saw in Fuji is that it got very chaotic with our AM drivers with less than 10 minutes remaining. So by going back to green flag straight away, the gaps will be large. It does mean that 66, Prince Abubakar, will not be on the tail of Wei Lu. But this is the battle to watch out for third position, because at the moment 911 Zhongwei Wang stays in third. Fourth is Cao Che, but they've got Anthony Liu catching them. Right, green flag, we are back to racing now. This is where these drivers need to be very, very careful, because the cars will not be up to full temperature, and therefore when you get on the power you'll have a little bit of a wiggle, and potentially you won't have the brakes quite underneath you that you were expecting. Anthony Liu putting Cao Che under pressure for fourth position. That 55 accident under investigation, as you would expect, but does not really influence the race as a whole. What can Anthony Liu do? Wei Lu in the number 4 leading the race. We'll find out what the gap is between himself and Prince Abubakar at the next split, but I think it grew from when we last checked in, because I think Lu Wei had got himself up to speed. Big battle going on further back behind the 500. Hirabon, Yuan, Shei Fen, Cheng, Rio. Of course, you've got the onboard car here, the silver driver of Frankie Cheng, trying to get through the AM drivers. Pao Chi defending from Anthony Liu, stopping the progress of the 37 car, which, don't forget, is in the championship hunt, but losing points now to Wei Lu at the lead of the field. Watching the whole race, we lost the leaders of the championship at the lap 1, 87 and 99 getting into each other. 99 was already damaged with a rear suspension broken before the contact with the 87, we think. But both were out of the race on the spot, and that has put, or given the advantage to the number 4 and the number 37. They now mathematically back in the game for the championship, going to Beijing in the middle of October. Our final round on a new street circuit there. And just imagine this style of racing on a street circuit. GT World Challenge Asia has been to a street circuit before, but the South Korea ex-Formula 1 venue was never really a proper street circuit like Formula 1 circuits these days are not. If you think of Singapore, if you think of Valencia, yes, there's some walls sometimes, but they've got these big runoff areas. So it'll be the first proper street circuit, Formula E style, that GT World Challenge Asia has ever visited. As it stands in silver, the 45 still leads the 98. Where is the 98? Down in 17th position, so off the podium in silver. It's not been a good day for Ferrari. As it stands overall, Bob Wan would still lead and would only lose that advantage by 1 point to Wei Lu. And Prince Jeffrey would be, at present, Prince Jeffrey would still be 3rd position. So it's not that disastrous for Bob Wan and Wei Lu. It would be a different story if Prince Ibrahim could catch Lu Wei, but the first lap post full course yellow, Lu was over a second faster than Abu Bakr, and the gap now is up to 8 and a bit seconds. Another lap done, and yeah, nearly 8/10 of a second faster. Here comes Anthony Liu with the overlap down the inside, going towards turn 1. Very, very strong defending from Cao Che, but Anthony Liu makes it stick, and that was brave stuff from the Chinese driver. There was hardly any space down the inside on the dirty part of the track, and look how he simply disappears now. Chasing down Wang Zhongwei in the 911. Nice work from Alex Liu to get away and out of the way of our leaders. So that bit of defending's okay, but then Cao Chi tries to squeeze him again. There's no contact between the two of them. It's just about a car's width of space. But Anthony Liu had no doubt that that was where he needed to place his car. Another strong drive from Lu Wei, building the advantage at the head of the field over Prince Abu Bakr. I have to say, when they're out front, number 4 always is a solid bet for victory. They do get themselves in strife when they're in the pack. There is a little bit of damage to that 66 front right corner, and that is where they had contact going into turn 1 with the 87. I think that is something that should be investigated, although it doesn't really matter. But Prince Ibrahim does not have a car underneath him that he's very happy with. And Lu Wei is basically driving a different category of car. All day long, Origin's number 4 Porsche has looked better than everybody else. In the hands of Bastien Boussy, he was like half a second faster than Boccolacci in this car. And now, well over a second faster than the rest of the field. There's not another car in the field that's in the 30s. Lu Wei has just done a 30.6. Abu Bakr a 32.0. Anthony Liu a 31.8. So, and Hirabon also a 31.8. And there you go. Anthony Liu reducing that gap, but does he have enough time on the clock? Just 3 minutes and 15 seconds. On board with Frankie Cheng. Now he's dropped to 2nd in silver. So Rio's got ahead of him. No further action, by the way, on the contact between 16 and 55. But even more importantly, ahead of them, 89 and 500. Because not only is that for Silverram victory, it is also for Silverram championship. If the 500 loses the lead to the 89 will be Silverram champions. 3-2-1 has faded out of that battle. Here comes the 77 down the inside of 3-2-1. So again, some of our less experienced drivers, and again, the first time for Zhu Shenfei in this championship, and he's down to 13th now. It does show that it's not easy to step up to GT World Challenge Asia, and it should not be taken lightly. A couple of Lamborghini races is not the preparation to be competitive in this series, because there's the likes of this man, Anthony Liu, who's done over 50 races in the championship. He has the most wins to his name, equal to Liu Ye and Bob Yuan. And he wants to get himself onto the podium. He wants to get himself closer to the leaders in the championship post-race, and he has the opportunity to do that. One last lap then, one last chance for Anthony Liu, one last chance for Ren Chunfan in the BMW against the 500. Those are the two battles to watch, but it looks like Liu Wei, I mean, he is 2 seconds a lap faster than Prince Abubakar. It is a different stratosphere that those cars are operating on, particularly that car. For the moment, Origin with a mammoth advantage in the championship, but will not steal the championship post-race in the teams. But unless a disaster happens in Beijing, it will go the way of Origin. Now that was the last opportunity for Anthony Liu, surely to overtake. Around the final turn comes Liu Wei. Up until today, Porsche had never won in Okayama, but it looked like it was going to happen on Sunday. And it has happened in Sunday. Bastien Bus, such a strong first stint, and Liu Wei, a master in the second, extending the advantage to over 15 seconds by the end of the race over Prince Abubakar. Those first couple of laps, it looked like Prince Abubakar would close down the gap, but he wasn't able to. And Anthony Liu has done an amazing job in this second stint, but just hasn't had the time to get himself on the podium. So it will be Wang Zhongwei in third. And the Nissan comes across the line as 7th position, but crucially winning Silver Am and keeping that championship alive over the 89. Rio in the silver, winning silver. And who's winning in Am? Actually, we haven't checked this out. It's the 75. So another great drive from Chip Bantioro in the second half of the race. He takes the victory in the Am category, with Santosho behind by 1.1 seconds. And I don't know what that does to that particular championship in Am, but I tell you what, McPherson and Ben Porter finishing 5th is not great. 38 points of difference, so Ben Porter will have a lot of work to do in Beijing if he wants to win versus the Garage 75 Ferrari. But the main story is the Origin Porsche of number 4. It's changed from purple back to blue in the last round, and it just seems to be in a different world this weekend. Bastien Bus in the same car, Bus versus Boccolacci. You would put money on Bus being equal to Boccolacci, but not stretching the advantage to over 5 seconds in the same car. And then Liu Wei doubled it in the second stint. And with their teammates and our championship leaders, Bob Yuan and Liu Yi, in the pits and out of the race, an excellent opportunity for them to claw back the disadvantage from the early part of the season. And that win means they're just 14 points back from their teammates, with Prince Jeffrey also retiring and picking up no points in 15th. Anthony Liu and Boccolacci go into the final round with a mathematical chance of a championship, but with 20 points difference and a maximum of 50 on offer, it would be tough. There's the joy. Where's Bastien? Because that isn't Bastien Bus. Alongside him, it's one of the mechanics. Here's Bastien Bus. Coming down to celebrate. And that is Bus's best result. His first win in GT World Challenge Asia. Between himself and Picarello, it was advantage Picarello. But this weekend in Okayama, a third and then a first. And don't forget that that is a first with a 5-second penalty in the pits for the third position in Okayama. They will go to Beijing, though, with a 15-second success penalty, whilst all the other rivals around will have no success penalty. So it's going to be very, very tough for them. Celebrations, though, let's go positive with Amy down in the pits.
And here with the winners of race 2, we're Lu. Congratulations, you got it. And it's the very first win of a Porsche in Okayama. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's a big effort from the team. They got us a really fast car. The setup was good. I guess my engineer didn't sleep at all. And my team was mega quick. He pulled a safe gap for me. And it was just me managing the gap myself. I'm not as good as him, so it took me a long time to warm up. But also, I feel sorry for my teammate. I know they're fighting hard for the championship. At least they're still leading, so the fight's going on.
And also, to put a sprinkle on top, Origin Motorsport just won the overall team's championship.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, you did.
We were really nervous in the car because I had a really bad start this season, all my fault. Now things back to normal, so I was like really nervous in the car. I didn't know what happened.
Well, now going to Beijing, you get to celebrate well this weekend, and let's prepare well for Beijing. And Bastien, great start. A lot happened behind you, but you kept the car alive. Can you tell us about your stint as well?
Yeah, I think the start was, everybody into turn 1. Always a bit tricky on this track. And after the safety car restart, car was quick, team has done a mega job over the night, and we managed to pull a gap, gave the car away, and first win for us too this season, and first win for a Porsche at Okayama. So a bit of history as well is nice. Brought ourselves back in the championship fight for the last round. So I think we're ready to Beijing.
Great, and all the good reasons to celebrate. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
さあ、日本のさせていただきます。本当ね、今シーズンウェイルー選手自分の責任でちょっとね、あまりいいレースができてなかった状況の中でこのウィンっていうのは本当に嬉しくって、今シーズン初の勝利を手につかめて本当に嬉しいとおっしゃってました。そして、オリジンモータースポーツとしては今シーズンのチャンピオンシップ、チームチャンピオンシップですね、のチャンピオンと輝きましたっていう、ニュースに対して知らなかった。でも本当にね、緊張してこのレースに挑んだんですけど、こういう結果で本当に今日はお祝いしたいとおっしゃってました。で、バスティアン・ブース選手もね、スタートいろいろあってターン1後ろの方ではね、本当ごちゃごちゃだったんですけれども、自分もしっかり仕事をできて、この岡山でのポルシェ初優勝、そしてチームの優勝、そして我々のね、今シーズンの初優勝、本当に今日はたくさんのお祝いができるねとおっしゃってました。以上です。Back to you.
So that is Lu Wei's 6th victory in GT World Challenge Asia, which goes equal with Anthony Liu, Bob Wan and Leo Ye. Who will take the advantage? Who will be the 7th winner? Oh, that's an interesting graphic. We've not seen that one before. The team's championship, and just confirmation that Origin have taken victory over Johor Motorsport with a 91-point advantage. Amy's going to have a chat now with our winners in Silverham, keeping the championship alive.
stand here with the Silver Am winners of race 1 and 2. So you had a double win this weekend. I heard you had a quite tough stint yesterday, and today was also a little bit of a chaotic start for you. Can you please tell us what was on track?
I mean, yeah, compared to yesterday, we fixed the air conditioner, so definitely it was better for me. But at the start, we just, I had to stay on a track because I knew like Hilborn will be fast on the track, so I just had to give him a good position with it. So I'm happy with him. He did his job and I did my job. So yeah, it's teamwork, and we won everything with this.
Was that some popcorn power you got filled up with?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, definitely.
Congratulations to the double win. ヒルボン選手、レース1、レース2ダブルウィンとなりました。今お気持ちを伺ってもいいですか？
いや、もう今日はこんなチャンスあると思ってなかったんでね。いや、もうすっごい嬉しいです。
どんなお祝いの仕方しますでしょうか？
また暴れます。
じゃあぜひね、たくさんお祝いしていただいて本当におめでとうございました。So yeah, he's very happy about this one. He did not expect to win today, so he's very happy. I asked how he will celebrate today, and he's like, he's gonna go crazy tonight. Back to you.
Watch out, Okayama. Silver Am standings, therefore, stay undecided going into Beijing. We thought that 89 would seal it this weekend, but they have not. Winners in silver, Uno Racing, but unfortunately they are still under investigation for that 55 collision. Race control reverting their decision of no further action back to an investigation after the race. So we might still see the 45 take the victory there. The gap 14.5 seconds at the head of the field. Patrick Pilet is going to be on the podium. When was the last time that happened? I'll have to have a consult my notes. And unfortunately, retirements for Dan Arrow for the 99 Johor Motorsport and the 87 of Origin Motorsport. So they did get that 99 back out, fixed, did a couple of laps, and then brought it back. Reason for that was to basically be able to put it in the shipping container fixed, rather than having a broken car to fix when they get to Beijing. Because of course, that is what happens to the whole paddock. It will now get shipped over to Beijing, unless they need the cars, of course, for Suzuka in a couple of weeks' time for the 100. The highlights then, and a massive crash at turn 1 and at turn 2 eliminates our leaders from the championship hunt. 87 and 99 both having to retire with damage, despite the best efforts of Origin to get the Porsche fixed. And another look at it, the 87 coming across the 66, which elbowed Dan Arrow into the wall. A lot of cars having to take avoiding action, including James Yu Kwai here, who took avoiding action of that one, backed out of it, but then found himself on the outside line, as did the 89. By taking avoiding action here through the gravel, also lost a huge amount of ground. Early pit stops for our silver drivers, later pit stops for the Pro-Am competitors. Bastien Boost, the leader of the race, establishing an over 5-second gap, so that when he came out of the pits with Lu Wei aboard that car, they would be ahead of the 66, trying to take points away from the 4 and taking the lead. But lots of shuffling going on further back. The 55 trying to get his elbows out. Yeah, Yafei aboard that car in the first stint, but slower in the second stint for Song. And eventually it would be a retirement for the 55 after this very, very light contact made a puncture on the left rear tyre of the Ferrari. 16 Audi lucky to get away with that one. Anthony Liu was on a charge to try and get as many points as possible for his championship challenge, and this was a very brave move down the inside of Tao Chi. And that put him up to 4th position, but unfortunately progress would not be any further, so he'd miss out on a podium. An amazing stint from Lu Wei, established an over 15-second advantage by the flag over Prince Abu Bakar. Wei's 6th victory in GT World Challenge Asia. For a Porsche, their 21st victory in GT World Challenge Asia. and it means the championship has 4 cars going into Beijing. Here's a podium then, and great to have Patrick Pilet back on the podium. It's been a horrible year for the 911 car. Just the 1 point scoring race in Fuji Race 1. But Wang Zhongwei actually has been on the podium before. Second in Shanghai, must have been last year. And Patrick Pilet has had a couple of second positions as well, back in 2024 and in 23. But that is their first podium of the year this year. There's Alexander Sims, a second position for him to add to his win in Sepang. Prince Abubakar back on the podium. They were third in Fuji Race 1. So that means that's his best result of the year for Prince Abubakar. Of course, he's taken victories back in 2023 as well. And the win, his first for Bastien Bus, and 6 for Lu Wei.
Don't spray on your own car.
Okay, ready? Everybody know here?
The champagne sprays in Okayama. A dramatic race 2, and Patrick Pilet making sure the young Porsche star gets a soaking. Pilet, a factory driver for well over 10 years for Porsche. Great relationship with Absolute Racing. And no doubt one of those drivers that will be in Suzuka in a couple of weeks' time. Here's the overall standings then. Bob Wan and Liu Ye hold on and only lose 1 point in that championship fight over Wei Lu now, who moves up to second position. Jeffrey drops to third with no points off today. And then the only other drivers in mathematical chance of championship win is Liu and Boccolacci going to Beijing. And of course, it is Anthony Liu's home race in effect. And he will want very much to do a big job there. The silver podium then, and what a fight it was between Frankie Cheng and Rio in the second half of the race. We still don't know if this is the official result, because unfortunately the 16 is still under investigation for contact with the 55, but podiums are based on provisional results, and therefore at least they will have the trophies. Daniel Frost up on the podium. We've seen that car on the podium back as a winner in Mandalika. That was their best weekend of the year for Jiatong Liang and Daniel Frost. Definitely a step above what they were able to do anywhere else for that Mercedes. And considering the disaster in Fuji in race 2 for the 16 car, great for them to have themselves a second silver win after that fairy tale win in Buriram. Remember, in race 1 they had a great qualifying session and then had a mammoth accident into turn 1 and lost the opportunity with tears, with losing the opportunity to win. Then they were able to win on the race 2. And they have one here again in the silver category for the moment. So here are those silver standings. 181 plays, 165 after a quiet day for the 96 Ferrari. All of the efforts going into yesterday's race. But mathematically, the Ferrari can still win silver, or at least Andy Dunn can, with Xiaotong Liang now out of contention. To the silver arm podium then, and the championship staying alive there. Very, very entertaining battle in silver arm, wasn't it? With the silver drivers chasing them down at the end. Ooh, sounds like the corks are going off already. Akashnandi and Yuan in their Lamborghini, third position. Ranchun Fan and Max Usan, second spot. And Nissan taking another silver arm victory. That would be their fourth victory this year. They had a horrible start to the year, but it's been so much better the second half of the year. A sixth, a fourth yesterday. That's overall. And 36 points separating the BMW from the Nissan. They are the only ones that can mathematically win now in Beijing. Certainly a little bit of disappointment, I'm sure, at KRC, where they've been coming here to Okayama expecting to win that championship, because they had a larger gap coming into the weekend than they do leaving it. You'd expect that to have happened in Fuji as well, because this Nissan was so strong in Fuji, but it just hasn't really gone with them. And the BMW, certainly with starring performances at the start of the year, it's been more of a struggle in the second part of the year. Yuka Namaru for Nissan is the one that could snatch the championship from the BMWs, with obviously sharing the car with Hirobon now, but had a different teammate at the start of the year. I mean, that BMW took 2 overall podiums earlier on in the year, but it was off the top 10 the last 3 races, although it was a penalty yesterday that put them down to 4th overall. Here are the AM drivers, didn't see too much of them, wasn't too much of a battle to follow. But it's another victory in AM for the Ferrari. That is their 4th victory of the season in the AM category. And once again, they have a big advantage going towards Beijing over Ben Porter, who is their only championship challenger. Don't forget that Ben Porter and Andrew McPherson, who have always shared that Porsche together, did not share it in Sepang at the start of the year because Andrew was ill, and Ben took a big chunk of points there. But ever since, Ben Porter has not been able to replicate that kind of performance. He got a 9th position overall and a win in class. They have not won the class since. And so it's going to be a challenge for Ben Porter to take the victory in AM, to try and beat the victors last year in the AM category. Christian Colombo, and well, actually Christian Colombo did not win last year because he missed the race, having to attend the 24 Hours of Le Mans. He missed a race last year, so it was only his teammate David Cipiantoro who was the champion. But this year, Christian Colombo can do it as well. A double victory for the Ferrari. No, sorry, not a double victory here, because it was the other Ferrari that took victory in race one. They finished in third. But great to have 5 AM cars on the grid here in Okayama. Wonderful to have any extra Chinese drivers in Beijing. Beautiful, beautiful respect there. Did you see that from Santoro with the 2 Japanese drivers? That 60 car, that LM Corsa car, will have a Giancarlo Fisichella back in it for the Suzuka 1,000 kilometers. Hopefully he'll be better behaved than he was in Buriram. He caused all kinds of chaos. And of course it wasn't, with Giancarlo Fisichella aboard, an AM car. So that is why the 60 car hasn't been able to fight for the AM championship, because it's effectively it's missed 2 rounds, although it hasn't, it just moved categories. Great second half of the race for Cipiantoro. And they have a big advantage, as I said, over Ben Porter. Martin Berry, 6th position now, having missed a couple of rounds, and Andrew Bentley replacing him. And that is how Andrew Bentley down in 8th spot in AM. Here are the highlights then from race 2 in Okayama. With the pro drivers in the cars, it was chaos from the start. Leo Yi going across the nose of Alexander Sims, who then elbowed Dan Arrow into the wall. And chaos continues through turn 1 and turn 2, with our 2 championship contenders, the 99 and the 87, picking up damage after contact. It was the 87 that caused contact into turn 1 and then got spun around at turn 3. And a look again at exactly what happened. Somewhere in this, the 99 picks up rear suspension damage, and that is why he was out of control. Cars taking avoiding action, lost loads of positions, including James Yu Kwai, who had to go all the way around the outside of turn 1. The 89 took avoiding action into turn 3 and had to go across the gravel. And it meant they would not secure their silver AM crown here in Okayama. We'll have to wait to Beijing. Pit stops handing over from Pro to AM. 5-second penalty for the number 4 car from Success yesterday, but it didn't stop them from being able to hold on to the lead of the race post pit stop. And then an amazing stint from Lu Wei grew that advantage. There was lots of squabbling going on further down the pack as Ye Yifei's car, the 55, taken over by Song, found himself a little bit of a cork in the bottle, and various bits of contact meant that that 55 car would eventually retire. Big defense from Tao Che going into turn 1. Anthony Liu slithering up the inside and up to 4th position. But that was where his progress would end, and he would miss out on the podium, trying desperately to keep his championship alive. But a lights to flag victory for the number 4 meant that they moved up to 2nd in the championship, with no points being scored by the 87 or the 99. Wei Lu's 6th victory in this series, 21st to equal the best, and Bastien Bous's first. Origin Motorsport take the team's title here in Okayama for 2025. Great race, great entertainment. Thanks for joining us.